You're here to receive a psychic prescription, much like a weather report, for how to best work with the universal energies that will be present this week. I'm Kylie Savidge, Psychic, and the week I'm talking about is from today, the 22nd of February, to the 28th of February 2020. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'd love for you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell to get notified of when these videos come out. And if you've already been coming here and watching my videos, I want to say thank you. Thank you especially to the people who have been getting in touch with me and commenting and leaving some feedback about the videos. That's terrific and I appreciate it so much. Okay, we have 4 cards this week from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. If you could just center yourself for a moment, take a nice breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and intuitively pick a number between 1 and 4. Okay, when you have your number, that's going to represent the card that has a message for you that will be just a little bit more pertinent and relevant for you this week. So I will endeavor to remember to say what number the cards are. Okay, I really love the cards that came out this week. Following on from last week, which there was a lot of information on last week's reading. If you haven't seen it, jump back and have a look at that video. Yet I found that last week's reading was really relevant and I pulled out so much useful information for myself. So I really appreciated it. And there's a bit of a change and a shift in the energy with this week's cards. So if you picked number 1, your card is Perception. It's a journey marker from the Wisdom of Avalon deck. And this is what we call our anchor card. So we've dropped anchor in the ocean, as Colette says, and we have a 360-degree view all around us. It's kind of like the point of reference for how we are going to look at the universal energies that are available this week to work with and how we can better understand them. So perception is all about the way that we look at and understand our world. I really like the message that's coming through from Spirit, which you'll see as I pull the other cards out, and hopefully it will begin to unfold and make sense for you. So perception is this week we're being asked not so much to take action this week. Well, the action we're being asked to take is to sit back in reflection and to just pause and to just have a look at, didn't pick the best word there, have a look at the way we look at things. So as a psychic, I say one of my psychic abilities is being perceptive about people, about the personalities that people have, and also about relationships. I have what is called claircognizance, which is I'm very interested in the story, like people's story, the story of a relationship, the story of a situation. And I can be very perceptive also about stories. So perception is something that's, it's a topic that's quite relevant to me and quite important, and I'm always very interested in. And what I see is we are all changing and shifting and growing and evolving in some way. And what we're being asked by Spirit to do, especially this week, is allow the way we look at things to grow and evolve and change. Now, this is really important and essential because often we can get stuck. We can get stuck in old patterns, old projections, past behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, values. And to grow and evolve and change, sometimes we need to re-examine or re-evaluate the way that we understand and perceive the world. We need to allow these old ways of being and looking at the world to change. So we need to let go of them. And that can bring up a lot of resistance because our identity can be tied into things like the way we see the world, our values, our morals, our beliefs. And changing these fundamental facets of our being can be unsettling. We have the movement card opposite perception. So it does mean that we are going to see, if we allow and we're open to it, we are going to see some movement in our perception. The other thing is, we're not just talking about changes in the way that we look at and understand the world. We're really being asked to focus on how we perceive ourselves as intuitive psychic beings. Spirit are lifting the lid on that and, encouraging us to peel off the layers and reveal more of what it really means essentially to be human. And my understanding of that is we are all psychic, we are all intuitive, and we need to embrace these qualities of our humanity, our humanness, as we go forward. So, perception. I kind of like this card because it reminds me of that, if you can't see the forest for the trees, that saying. So, just be really patient and kind and gentle with yourself. If your worldviews get a little bit disrupted, a little bit shaken up this week going ahead, or if the ways that you understand yourself start to change, you may have flashes of psychic insight, psychic vision. You may tap into an ability that you haven't been very aware of before. I'm not saying spirits are going to come jumping out of their closets. Your dreams may become more vivid and real and stay with you for longer, and you may feel more encouragement to write them down and do some dream work. Your precognitive thoughts, which we talked about last week, may become sharper. You may actually have a clairvoyant vision, and it's so crystal clear. And as you go about in your life, that vision unfolds in reality, in your day-to-day reality. And it may be like so stunning to you because what you thought was going to happen, what you saw clairvoyantly, happens exactly in your day-to-day life. And look, that can be shocking and unsettling, especially if you're not used to it. This is something I've been dealing with my whole life, because when I was just born a little bit more awake and aware, and I couldn't suppress my psychic abilities as much as I tried to. And by the time I was 30, I really embraced them and started working with them. So this is something that's become my normal, yet even for people who have been working with their psychic abilities, we need to keep an open mind and keep understanding that our abilities can change and they can grow, and be open to that and allow that. Just had something pop up on my computer. Don't you hate that when that happens? Okay, so perception. If that was your card number 1, and I'll probably touch on it as I talk about the other cards, but it is about the way we see and understand ourselves as intuitive psychic beings. I'd love to hear from you if you have some great experiences going throughout this week or at any time. The best way to get in touch with me is on my Facebook page. So that's Kylie Savidge Psychic. Or definitely drop me an email, kyliesavagepsychic@gmail.com. And, let me know how you go with it. I'm always happy to answer questions from people. I really love to do that. My main role is of a facilitator and a teacher. Okay, if you were my client, you were sitting opposite me and you got this card, the second card, which is the Raven, I'd be so happy and excited for you. I love this card. Sometimes we can relate to feeling stuck in our lives, and we really want change, and we're wishing for it and hoping for it. We may not be taking the action steps enough towards that change. We may be a little bit fearful and holding ourselves back. Yet, we're just yearning for some sort of transformation and a shift, for our life to change in a dramatic way. And when Raven comes along with the messages of magic and transformation and shape-shifting, we know that this is a very opportune time for those changes to happen. So if that's you, you've been sitting there going, oh, I just feel so stuck, when is my life going to change for the better? When is, the job coming, the relationship and all of that? If you've done the work and you're poised and ready to take action on this stuff, then know that this is a great sign for you. Yet, when we look at perception as the anchor card, the main message I feel we're getting with perception, then Raven, is there will be a transformation, some alchemy, some magic, some shape shifting around how we understand ourselves as psychic intuitive beings. If you don't take anything else from this reading, that's what I want for you to listen to, and that's what I want for you to have heard. So, even though psychic abilities and being intuitive is becoming a lot more mainstream, it's still very woo-woo for a lot of people. And you may not feel comfortable, going into the office or the childcare centre or the doctor's office and saying, wow, I just had this really strong intuitive feeling and it came to pass. That may not be a conversation you want to have with everybody, and it may not be a conversation you need to have with everybody. Yet, just be aware that when it comes to how you look at the world, how you understand yourself as a human being, a psychic intuitive being, that these instances, these experiences could be happening more and more for you. And if they are, Spirit's going to bring you the support. Watching this video right now, that is Spirit supporting you with whatever's going on for you. You may watch this video, years down the track or next week or, a month ahead, and yet you may just pick up exactly what you need to hear. And perhaps what you need to hear is you are psychic, you are intuitive, and it's time to embrace this. Okay, if you picked card number 3, I'm just pausing because there are 2 messages that come through with the swan. So this is the card of transformation. And the swan song it relates to what swans do when they're dying. This doesn't sound very pretty yet. If we're reading tarot, this could be the death card. So I want for you to understand death not as a big scary thing, but this is a signifier of true transformation. So if we look at it in light of perception and Raven, then this third card, the swan, is saying it's like you may go through a mini death. The way that you used to see yourself or view the world may actually die. It may actually fall away and be gone. You may make such a spiritual shift this week that you feel changed, you feel different. Within your heart, you feel like there has been some fundamental shift and you are no longer the person who you were before. Now embrace that. That's not a scary death thing. That is a beautiful part of transformation, of evolving and growing and changing as a human being, which is what we're here to do. So when you see the swan card or the death card in tarot, just make note to yourself that this is about transformation. It's a signifier of deep and profound change. I'm really excited about this because I feel like more and more people are becoming spiritually awake and aware, and they are embracing their psychic selves. That's fantastic. That's amazing. I truly believe that being psychic and intuitive with everything that entails, that these abilities were given to us. They are as vital as our physical senses. Our non-physical senses assist and support us to navigate life. Can you imagine, having this really cool tool in your toolbox called intuition, which assists and supports you to make decisions, big and small, every day? You don't have to phone anybody, that may involve that. You don't have to phone anybody. You don't have to get a degree. You don't have to have read the right book. You can just trust that intuitive self that is within you, your inner teacher. That's what intuition means. So be prepared for, I feel like it's like a revelation. Be prepared to become more spiritually awake and aware this week, whenever you see this video. Be prepared to shed some skin, to go through a transformation process and allow the old to dissolve away. I know, like, because I've been through so many transformations, it can be rocky and it can be ugly and it can be up and down and messy. Yet I get really excited about this because I love seeing people make big transformations or small transformations. I love to see people evolve and grow and change in the direction that they want to. And I'm very much about assisting and supporting people wherever I can, however I can, for them to do that. Because I've gone through so many transformation processes myself, I've understood there is no nirvana. There is no place you get to and then you are that. There is just a constant evolving, shedding, and growing. That's what this card is really about. Okay, movement. I said this is the fourth card. I said this was opposite perception. Now, why that's important to me is when I put the four cards, I read 1, 2, 3, 4. I read diagonally, like I read around a circle and then I read diagonally. So when movement was opposite perception, the anchor card, I look at what is movement trying to tell me about perception? And it is this message. Also in the fourth card position, this card is giving further insights and clarities for the whole reading. So we look at this card in relation to each of the other cards. So if your card, the fourth card, was movement, we are looking at what I've just been talking about, change, transformation, and growth. And it's how important it is to support yourself through this process. We need to love ourselves forward. I can't say that enough. But yet when we have movement opposite perception, it is we need to allow this new information and this new way of being, this new way of looking at and understanding ourselves as psychic intuitive beings. We need to allow this process to happen. And the opposite of movement is being stuck, is resistance. And as you said, the action we need to take is not so much a very yang action week this week. It's more a yin type of action, an allowing and an unfolding. And we need to remain soft and gentle and open in our energy to allow this process to happen. So I like that movement is water. So it's a card that has water on it to remind us of a slow movement of a river. And lots of reflection and pausing. That's the action that we need to take this week. I will just add, if you get the movement card, you relate to that message of feeling stuck, of feeling resistant, wanting change, not sure how it's going to happen, everything, you need to get on your horse this week because this is a week where it's going to be much easier to make changes. You have more spirit support for that. So please think about, what is it that you want to change? What small baby step could you take towards actioning that change? And see if that can happen for you this week. If you're moving house, changing jobs, leaving a relationship, entering a relationship, all those sorts of changes, this is a good week for it. And you definitely have extra and added layers of support and assistance. Pay attention to your intuition. That's the very strong message coming through this week's cards. Your intuition, your intuitive self, your psychic abilities, they're going to help you make these changes. I would love to hear how it all goes. So please definitely get in touch. Okay, I keep saying this Oracle card deck wrong, sorry. From the Natures, I've got to look for the box. I have it here. Nature's Whispers Oracle by Angela Hartfield. We have Leap of Faith. If you really like Oracle cards that are beautifully detailed, the artwork's incredible, with just really good, positive, vibey messages, I highly recommend this deck. So Leap of Faith is saying to us, with everything that came up in those four cards, we're going to be required to put down some of our old judgments and our resistance. We're going to be required to have flexibility in our thoughts, and perhaps we will have to make a leap of faith. I understand what Spirit's saying. I just don't know the exact right words to put it into, because for me it's a process. So we're shifting from the old and we're in that in-between stage. before we move into the new. And to move into the new, we have to put down the old stuff, make those leaps, and then we'll shift into the new. So next week, I'd expect to see messages around that we're, well, we could be close to it. We're moving more in the direction of embracing our intuitive selves, of looking at the world and ourselves differently. So wear your big girl pants this week and let me know how these leaps of faith go. Remember, baby, 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 tiny, tiny, tiny steps. That's how it happens. In the right direction, this is how we achieve our dreams and our goals. All right. I went into an oracle card shop. No, sorry, a bookshop last week with a friend, and we were checking out the oracles, and I'd heard about Rebecca Campbell's Starseed Oracle, which is her brand new deck that's out now. I have Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle, and our sixth card is from that. So I've heard a bit of buzz about the Starseed Oracle, and I think it would be beautiful to check out. So while I was shuffling the cards, I was thinking about Starseed Oracle, and look at the card. So this is the Starseed card in Rebecca's first deck, the Work Your Light Oracle, which is so beautiful. And I highly recommend her book as well. Okay, so Starseed is saying, firstly, if you relate to being a starseed, this card is confirmation that you are one, from whichever galaxy and system you come from. I relate to being Pleiadian, and I always have, but I found out you can actually have like star origins. I'm not sure how to say it, I apologize, from, lots of different galaxies. You can be more from one than another, but Pleiades is the one I relate to. I've gone and done those quizzes and I never get Pleiades. But anyway. Okay, so Starseed Oracle is about you feel a calling, you feel a mission, and you have two missions. So you have this mission to yourself and you have a mission to the planet, which is Earth. So we are here to assist and support Earth with its evolution and its people. And what happens is when you, please forgive me if I'm not saying this right, you can always write to me and correct me because it's not really my area of knowledge. When you are a starseed and you haven't yet found what helps, you to feel like you're creating and living a meaningful life, I really don't like saying a life purpose. It's very problematic for me. So I like to talk about creating a meaningful life. When you haven't yet found that, you can suffer depression, you can feel stuck, you can feel like there is something calling you, but you haven't quite been able to understand what that is. It's, for me, it's about connection, like feeling connected to your true self and the meaning that you need to find in this life. I'm trying so hard not to say purpose. Okay, so if you are a starseed, it's very important, like vitally important for you not to block your light. People talked about light workers. I'm not sure if that's the same thing, but it is if there is something deep within you that you really feel called to express. You really feel like if you were put on earth for this one thing, and I don't think it's ever one thing, just for an example, if you were put on earth to explore and to relate and to express this one thing, then that's what you need to do. If you don't relate to being a starseed, this card still has a message. It is saying, as a human, you are intuitive, you have psychic abilities. Let's, take the layers off, unpeel everything, and let's get to that. Let's find out how you are intuitive. Let's find out how you are psychic. How do your abilities express themselves? What are you interested in? What are you curious about? What do you feel okay with? And let's go with that. It really is about letting yourself be the light that you are. And I'll leave you with that. So yes, definitely get in touch. I love feedback. I really want to know that these readings are assisting and supporting you. and they're relevant to your life, and they give you some practical suggestions and advice. And yes, I just love hearing from you. So many, many blessings on your week, and I'll say see ya.